Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Tom Baker Show. I'm Tom Baker. It is great to have you with us. And wherever you're tuning us in from, we are happy to have you here. This show, as always, being brought to you by Radical Race Gear. If you want to be a champion, you really ought to look like one. And I know of nobody better than my friend and longtime associate, Butch Lamb, to help you do that. They have all kinds of gear for drivers, including custom driver suits. They've got shoes. The crew they can outfit with sublimated shirts that rock. They've got rugs for your trailer that you can obviously put your own logo on or a sponsor's logo if you need to. They've got 10 by 10 customized pop-up tents. They have got it all. RadicalRaceGear.com. Sometimes you have to start the show on a sort of unfortunate note. And this is one of those times. I bring in my colleague, Jacob Seelman from Raceface Digital. And Jacob, a very well thought of friend of ours has passed away, and someone that the racing world has admired and will continue to for as long as there is racing, particularly at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Humpy Wheeler, the longtime promoter of Charlotte Motor Speedway, has passed away at the age of 86 from natural causes. Jacob, I know that you knew Humpy, as did I, and do you have any thoughts that you'd like to share to start this show about Humpy?
I feel like there's a small book. Or actually, there are a couple
You wrote one.
legitimate books that there are a couple legitimate books that have been written with material that involves Humpy, including one that he wrote,
Yep.
for that
Yes.
matter.
Growing
But
up NASCAR.
oh my gosh,
Great book.
um, I have a million. There are a million different thoughts I could start with in terms of Humpy, but I'll go with the obvious first. As you mentioned, passed away midweek at the age of 86, and I loved the term that I saw. I can't take credit for it, but I loved the term that I saw earlier today from somebody that kind of called him the architect of entertainment. And to
Oh,
me,
yes.
that's what Humpy was for more than 3 decades at CMS. He was brought in by Bruton Smith as and became the track's longtime president and general manager, and was the
Yeah.
spearhead of pretty much every. If you could think it craziness, Humpy probably did it at one time or another at CMS during, whether it was Coke
Yeah.
600 weekend, what was then Bank of America 500 weekend. So much that he did to entertain the fans, to improve the fan experience, to really make that part of this sport valuable, because Humpy understood above all else that without the fans, there is no motorsports. Period. End of discussion. We can race in front of nobody
Yep.
all we want, but in order to be a sport, in order to be cared about, in order to mean something, you have to have an audience. And Humpy, one of his just absolute hallmark traits was he was going to make sure that audience was taken care of. And I'm so thankful that that was recognized a couple of months ago, and that he was alive to be able to see this come to fruition, that he was honored and going to now posthumously, I guess, receive the Landmark Award for Outstanding Contributions to NASCAR coming up in January, in tandem with the induction of the new NASCAR Hall of Fame class of 2026. But I mean, you stop and consider
Yeah.
pyrotechnics. Humpy did that. Jumping cars in the infield or buses or what have you. Humpy did
Yeah.
that. The invention of the legend car, Humpy helped with that.
Humpy.
Dirt
Yeah.
tracks at a NASCAR,
Yep.
dirt tracks on a NASCAR property, Humpy did that too. Like I said, there was very few ideas that I can think of in the modern era of motorsports that weren't either Humpy's brainchild, or somewhere along the way you can trace a thread back to Humpy in all of that. He was just an absolutely brilliant forward thinker. And I started penning something. It's not done yet, but I started penning something actually earlier today, um, in regards to Humpy's passing. And back when you and I worked together at the beginning of my time in the sport,
Yep.
got a chance. Both of us have had time to spend with Humpy, and one of the things that has stuck with me from those meetings and those times that we got a chance to talk with him was really that Humpy set the standard that every track, every promoter, every
Yeah.
series, every owner that followed him has tried to emulate, most of which to no fault of their own, not quite as successfully, only because that is how high the bar that Humpy Wheeler set truly was. It's no disrespect to anybody that's come after Humpy that they've struggled to reach that bar. It's just truly a testament to how amazing the work he did, not just at CMS, but in the entire sport. I mean, he spent time in boxing. He's actually, I know, a member of the I believe the North Carolina Boxing Hall of
He
Fame, in
is Hall
addition
of Fame.
to some of
Yep.
the auto racing halls of fame that he is part of as well. So just good grief, so many things that he's done, so much that he meant. And when you are somebody that is talked about in the same breath as those like Bill France Sr., like a Richard Petty, like a Dale Earnhardt, and your name is known in that high regard, that says something. That's the kind of
It
person that Humpy Wheeler was and will be in the history of motorsports forever. And I could sit here and wax poetically all night, Tom, but I know actually you to this day have one of my favorite Humpy anecdotes that I still like sitting back and listening to.
Well, the real Humpy story for me actually started before you and I got together and were part of my Race Chaser media. The Humpy was actually a big part of the influence behind Race Chaser at that time because um, I had a show on ESPN Charlotte, and uh, that station changed formats, and so I was kind of trying to figure out where to go with it and thought I might want it on PRN. I was thinking about approaching Doug Rice, and I thought, well, Humpy Wheeler started PRN, so maybe, maybe I should talk to him and find out how to pitch Doug and, see how I might be able to fit in there. And so I called him and asked him if I could talk with him and if he would be willing to meet with me and spend 20 or 30 minutes that I had something I wanted to talk to him about with regard to PRM. And he graciously agreed to meet with me, and of all places, a bookstore down in Huntersville that had a little cafe inside in Birkdale Village. And so I said, okay, bookstore it is. And we arranged the day and time. And he not only gave me 20 minutes, he gave me an hour and a half. And he really sat down and listened to what I was trying to do and, what I wanted to do. And he made the suggestion that before I approach PRN with the show, maybe I should build a website. And he gave me some advice on what he thought the site should be. And, and it happened to coincide with the way that I had built Inside Groove Online back many years ago in New York State. And so I went ahead and did that based on his advice. And that was how I started Race Chaser, which brought you and I together. And so Humpy actually was a big part of the push behind that. And I don't share. I haven't shared it much, but about once a year, since then, up until the last maybe couple of years. I would call Humpy and talk to him. And, I never wanted to, I always felt sort of funny about taking up too much of his time because there's so much demand for it. But it was just always cool to say hello. And, he gave me some of the greatest advice that I've ever had about working in the sport over the years. And, one of the things that he always talked about was taking the first 15% of any budget, putting it into media. And, and he would get, I don't think a lot of people realize that there were a lot of times when he would get calls from companies wanting to come into NASCAR, and asking for advice and how to do it. And, he would sort of play matchmaker, putting drivers with car owners, or calling people on behalf of a driver, or if a car owner needed a driver. I think he was the one that helped Dale Earnhardt get his first ride at Charlotte, I believe.
Yeah.
It was, and the other thing that I think, was one of his biggest accomplishments was he was the one that came up with the idea to do the All-Star race under the lights. And he put a lot of pressure on himself. Yeah. And he basically promised Winston that he could do it. And then he had to figure out, well, how do I actually do it? And he did it, and he pulled it off. And I think that still is the preeminent all-star race. I think One Hot Night was the pinnacle and the apogee of that event. And I think ever since it's just sort of gone the other way. But Humpy was a visionary, and he could see things and kind of peer into the future in ways that others just couldn't. And he was very generous. Yeah. He mentored so many people in the business, our business, part of the business, as well as, drivers and PR people and all of that. I think he was largely responsible for Tom Cotter getting started in PR, his own firm. Just he's left an impact on the sport that goes well beyond Charlotte, well beyond NASCAR, right down to the local short tracks. And if you haven't read his book, Growing Up NASCAR, go get it and read it, because it is one of the greatest racing stories ever written. And it really lets you see the genius behind what Humpy Wheeler was, from the dirt tracks of the Charlotte area here right on up to Charlotte Motor Speedway and beyond. He really was an incredible visionary. And we're just all going to really, really miss him, but yet his spirit will live on in all of us, because the advice and the time he spent with us, is just a force multiplier that will carry on for as long as we're around.
Absolutely. And just real quick to hit on a couple of those other bullet points. Let's see, other things that Humpy was responsible for. You mentioned Dale Earnhardt as far as helping to get Dale in a ride at CMS. Humpy was responsible, he and Bruton Smith, with bringing Janet Guthrie to what is now the Coca-Cola 600,
That's
then
right.
the World 600. Yeah. Yeah, you mentioned One Hot Night, obviously, which has led to so many other things. We talk about all the elaborate pre-race shows, the pyro, just everything. I think the quote I saw from Richard Petty sums it all up. Under Humpy's direction, Charlotte Motor Speedway became the gold standard by which all other racetracks were built and how they were measured. And that is, I can't think of any truer statement than that, because Humpy wasn't just the yardstick, he built the yardstick.
Yes, he did. Yeah, he really did. You talk about, people talk about thinking outside the box. He expanded the box by about 6 square miles. And I don't think anybody will ever. Yeah. I mean, I just don't think anybody will ever equal him in terms of, his creativity as a promoter. But how we will all try. Right. And,
Amen. Amen.
Bob Dylan once said that, the most amazing thing, what else can you do for a man other than inspire them? And, Humpy Wheeler inspired more men and women in this sport, and I'm sure well beyond, than we will ever know about.
He did. That's all I can say to that is not just inspiring, but I think really motivating. Even beyond that, it is would be apropos to
Yeah.
what Humpy's done. You know, he really pushed a lot of us forward, me included.
Yeah, I 100% agree with that. I will remember Humpy very fondly and will always be thankful and grateful for everything that he did for me and for all of us, really. Humpy Wheeler
Absolutely.
passed away, age of 86. We will all miss him very much. And with that, we're going to step aside, take a break. We have got much more to come on this show. NASCAR news, short track news. We got it all. Stay tuned.
Attention track and series owners, elevate your fan experience with the TrackTune app. TrackTune works with your PA system. Fans and teams at the track can hear the announcers through their phones, ensuring everyone hears race calls, sponsor plugs, and more during race nights. It's simple to set up, affordable, and free for fans to download and enjoy. Visit tracktune.live for all the details and join tracks nationwide on the app today.
For race fans across the United States, GetInTheStands.com is the place to find racetracks where you live and where you're traveling. Just go to GetInTheStands.com and enter your location. You'll see the tracks within 100 miles of that point, either as a list or on a map. GetInTheStands.com is 100% free to use and mobile friendly. So whether you're on a computer, a tablet, or on your phone, there's no need to download an app. To find racetracks across the United States, open your web browser and head to GetInTheStands.com. GetInTheStands.com, your racetrack directory.
For over 50 years, FHS Superior Synthetic Oil has powered high-performance engines with unbeatable protection and speed. Whether it's drag racing, go-karts, sprint cars, stock cars, or your daily driver, FHS stands for high speed and delivers every time. Their advanced synthetic oils boost your engine's responsiveness, acceleration, and efficiency, giving you the winning edge on every lap. Visit FHSoil.com today to find the right products for your engine. FHSoil.com. Welcome back to the show. It is great to be with you once again. Tom Baker, Jacob Seelman, talking racing, as always, here on PowerTube TV and throughout our distribution network. And Jacob, NASCAR, and more NASCAR. The 2026 schedule is out, and there are many changes. There are a few head scratchers, and honestly, some yay. I'll let you start and go through the changes one at a time with us, so let's talk about them.
All right, so I'm going to hit on the bullets, and then we can circle back to talk about points individually here. So, big highlights of the 2026 NASCAR. I'll clarify the Cup Series schedule, because between the three schedules, there's enough content for about 3 different shows. But the Cup schedule specifically, still 36 races. Still 26 regular season, 10 in the playoffs. The makeup of that changes a little bit, largely with big point number 1. The traditional NASCAR All-Star race will shift from North Wilkesboro Speedway to the Northeast and go to Dover, Delaware. And the Monster Mile will get a mid-May All-Star date under the daytime, we think, because they tipped they could bring in temporary lighting, but it would probably take a lot. So more than likely a daytime all-star race at Dover. What does that do to North Wilkesboro? Well, the fans ask, NASCAR delivers. Points race back at North Wilkesboro for the first time in 3 decades, 400 laps, mid-July, Sunday night, under the lights. Let's go. I cannot hit the love button on that bullet point enough. Yay, much excite. Well, more on that in a minute. Watkins Glen in what I would call the head scratcher of the year. You can say this being a New York native, Tom. Watkins
Yes, I
Glen going
can.
to Mother's Day weekend. I saw that and I said to myself, huh? Chicagoland, the Oval, replacing the Chicago Street Race on July 4th weekend in another move that many fans are going yay about. The Mexico City road course race getting replaced with, as we knew, because this part had been announced a couple of weeks ago, with the Coronado Naval Base in San Diego, the street race on the Naval Base for 2026 on Father's Day weekend.
Yep.
Couple things that stay the same. Atlanta remaining race 2 after Daytona, so we get back-to-back drafting track races to open the season. Oh, and before I forget, yes, the favorite championship track is back for 2026 because we're going back to Miami in November, where it should have never left to begin with. But again, we don't make the schedules, we just sit here and talk about them. But regardless, Homestead back to championship weekend for 2026 in what we believe is going to start being a 4-year rotation that will include Homestead, Phoenix, and a couple of other tracks that will be announced as that rotation gets fleshed out a little further. But the first thing I want to chew on here, Dover All-Star Race. It hurts me to say that, Tom. I do not like it, not one little bit. If you want to kill the All-Star race, this is a great way to do that. But just no, why?
Well, I mean, there's about half of these changes that I'm asking the same question. But first of all, an interesting stat was that basically the fans got their wish in terms of North Wilkesboro becoming a points race. Okay.
Yep.
Including the fact that something like 4 out of 5 fans between 18 and 34 voted, said that they wanted this. Like, it's not just us old farts. Okay. It's the young crowd too that sees the merit in North Wilkesboro being a points race. Okay,
absolutely.
That's good. But why in the wide world of sports do you take your all-star race instead of just bringing it back to Charlotte and putting it on the Oval, where they should have put it, in my opinion, if you're going to continue it? They take it all the way to Dover. So you're making a bunch of teams travel up there for just the Open, because not everybody plays in the all-star race. And so now what you have is you basically have a situation where we're going to a concrete track that takes almost all of the 400 laps that they usually run on it to rubber up and make it really racy.
Say. Yeah.
Right. And you're going to run a bunch of short segments. It doesn't naturally have lights. So now there's, the Air Force Base, there's issues why we don't have lights at Dover. It's not like we just decided not to have them. Right. So this could be a day race. I don't know if that's better or worse, but it certainly isn't made for primetime television unless, like you said, you bring in temporary lighting, but you'd have to bring in a whole lot of temporary lighting to light that thing.
Yeah.
So
the All-Star race has always been about a primetime Sunday night slot. And if you get rid of that because you can't have a night race at Dover, then what are we doing? That's all I got to say about that.
I don't know. The All-Star race to me anymore is forced.
Yeah, I don't know that we need it. I feel like it and the Clash serves a lot of the same purpose. Like I said earlier, I can't cheer about North Wilkesboro having a points race enough. If you thought 200 laps and the quality of racing we got during this most recent All-Star race was good, wait till you see 200 more. Oh my goodness! Especially especially if they bring the same tire to Wilkesboro that we had at Richmond recently that put on such great racing.
Well, that's a
Injected into
whole
my veins
other
right now.
that's a whole other problem. We don't know, because it's like
I didn't
if
say
the
it's a
temperature's
problem.
different, or I'm saying that you can't guarantee that tire is going to work exactly the same way everywhere at this point. But it certainly was a great race at Richmond.
If it's as hot and humid in July in North Carolina, and you and I both live here, so we can say yes, as it was when I was at Richmond, which that was like North Carolina weather in Northern Virginia. That tire is going to be just fine, and that's all I'll say about that.
It'll be interesting, but so I am totally thumbs down on the All-Star race at Dover. I'm totally thumbs up on the points race at Wilkesboro. I didn't think we needed to just, I didn't think we needed to move the All-Star race all the way to Delaware. That just doesn't seem to make sense. Okay.
As a New Yorker, Watkins Glen in May. What's your experience with the weather there?
Well, if you're traveling any distance for Watkins Glen next year, bring rain gear and snow gear. Make sure, because you never know in the state of New York what you're going to get on Mother's Day weekend in that part of New York State. It could be raining, it could be snowing, it could be 30 degrees, probably won't be 80 degrees. It's terrible timing. I really wish NASCAR would explain themselves on why this went from the date that sells out every year to the beginning of May. I mean, the idea that, well, maybe we'll get more families because kids are still around, they're still in school, that's dumb. I mean, that math doesn't work. I don't like this change at all, and I don't think it makes any sense. 2 thumbs down on that from me. I really don't. It almost feels like a snub to Watkins Glen.
Not at all,
honestly.
It does, and I don't get that, because Watkins Glen is so much about the camping crowd that it just feels like you're risking killing the camping crowd, because the weather that time of year is so unpredictable. I've not lived in New York State like you have, but I certainly have experienced the New York weather a time or two over the course of my tenure to know that you're right. You never know exactly what you're going to get there. You and I have talked about it ad nauseum. Chicagoland coming back, yay! Any mile and a half oval right now with the next gen car is good. We talked about San Diego a couple weeks ago when that was announced. That
I'm okay with that. I'll give that 1 thumb up.
Yeah, well, I mean, and we'll see how that goes. But again, and at the end of the day, Homestead being championship weekend, thank goodness, at least we get 1 year back of the absolute best possible scenario for a championship race, because we've seen what Homestead does. That being said, while we're talking about playoffs in 2026, I want to circle back to 2025 playoff conversation for a minute, and the fact that we're getting ready to dig into the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series playoffs, and kind of break up some news with the fact that I got a chance to sneak over in advance of the start of the Truck Series playoffs to chat with the driver who is filling in for Stuart Friesen in the number 52 Toyota entry to run for a driver's championship for himself and an owner's championship for Halmar Friesen Racing in Kaden Honeycutt. And just, really cool that we get to showcase him in advance of their first playoff race at Darlington, because I think the scenario for Kaden is unique. He and Stu are really cut from the same cloth, and at the end of the day, really kind of that same quality of racer in they'll race anything, anytime, anywhere. So I just feel like it's a great environment for Kaden, even as he's settling in, that I think this team can make a championship run. Got a chance to talk with him, so we'll let the fans hear from Kaden Honeycutt on his thoughts in filling in for Stuart Friesen, what it means to him to still have a shot to run for a Truck Series championship this year, and his outlook on his situation and the 52 team situation going forward.
Kaden Honeycutt is officially in Halmar Friesen colors going into what's going to be a fun, I think, stretch run for you, not only chasing points for the 52 team, but hopefully a driver's championship for yourself. We know pretty much how simple it should be for you to lock that up tonight. So I want to kind of look ahead. What has the acclimation been like for you? Obviously, not quite been on the track yet, but just working with these guys at the shop and getting ready for this opportunity. What's that acclimation been like for you?
It's been great. Everyone at Halmar Friesen has been nothing but great to me. Jimmy and these guys worked extremely hard to have us a truck here at Richmond this weekend, and everyone worked with me to get fitted, and the seat stuff is all in Stu's seats. So yeah, it's been really nice. Marco's helped with the suit, and there's just amazing people that I've been connected with and very fortunate to know and have the chance to do this and finish out the season with HFR. Everyone at Toyota has been amazing. Yeah, just really looking forward to the rest of the year. I think we have a really good chance. Obviously, it's going to be hard to beat the guys that have been running good all year, and hard to transfer into something new and try to get it right away, but I really think we can do that. And it starts here tonight at Richmond, and then we'll hopefully be locked in after the night's over and try to win a race tonight to go into Darlington after when the playoff starts.
You've been adaptable throughout your career, obviously, kind of bounced around rides, so that process is nothing new to you. Do you feel like just having that experience of having worked with multiple different teams and before just at least gives you kind of the footing to know I've done this before, it's not too hard to do it again?
Yeah, absolutely. No, I definitely don't think I'll have an issue adapting with these guys, and I don't think they'd have an issue adapting with me too. I know Stuart's been in this truck for God knows how long. I don't even know how long he's been in the truck, but it'll definitely be kind of weird, especially having Stuart's name on the side and on the back window glass. So yeah, it'll be good. I think we've been adapting right away. I think since the week has started, so we're really looking forward to tonight. I think we got a good piece from what it's showing so far. So we'll go into practice, get used to everything, get used to one of the best spotters in NASCAR, Chris Lambert. Get to work with him is really awesome. I've always listened to him. I think he's amazing at what he does. So looking forward to working with these guys and hopefully have a good night tonight and try to win a race and win some stages. So we can actually have some playoff points going into Darlington.
Have you had a chance to talk back and forth a little bit with Stu?
Oh yes, Stu's doing really good. He was actually this week setting up Miss Friesen, her modified, because she's going to race Saturday, so which is tomorrow. Yeah, so he's been doing good. I'm just hoping every day he recovers faster and faster and be able to come back, hopefully for next year right away, and go hit the ground running at Daytona. So I'm hoping that happens for him, hoping to have some family, and just like I said, I appreciate him, Miss Friesen, Chris Larson, Halmar, Mohawk Northeast for believing in me to finish the season out and do a good job for them. Not just win a driver's championship, but the owners as well. That's a really big thing for this team. So just want to go deliver that for them.
What's the the communication been like so far between you and Jimmy?
It's been great. Jimmy is amazing at what he does. He does a lot more than just being a crew chief, so I think him as a role in this team plays a lot on how they run. But yeah, I know him from his KBM days. He's been around for a very long time. Really smart guy, and just really blessed to work with someone like him and have the chance to go run in a truck that he is controlled over, and hopefully have a good night tonight with him and kind of learn each other during practice, so that way we can have a good night tonight in the race.
Do you feel like it says something, just your work ethic and how you've scrapped to get to this point, that Toyota thought highly of you to put you in this opportunity?
Yeah, and that's I've always wanted to be in a Toyota truck. That's what I was striving for in 22. Just things didn't work out. I've known those guys over there for a while, for the past couple of years, and finally we've been able to come back and circle around to each other. In the worst situation possible for this crew, unfortunately, but I think it was just a timing thing, and we just were able to make it work. And obviously the circumstances not what we were wanting, and but now we're here and we get to go and execute and get to know each other early and get after it right before next year.
Kaden Honeycutt, definitely good things ahead for that young man, and he surely deserves it. We will be back with more of the show right after this. For over 50 years, FHS Superior Synthetic Oil has powered high-performance engines with unbeatable protection and speed. Whether it's drag racing, go-karts, sprint cars, stock cars, or your daily driver, FHS stands for high speed and delivers every time. Their advanced synthetic oils boost your engine's responsiveness, acceleration, and efficiency, giving you the winning edge on every lap. Visit FHSoil.com today to find the right products for your engine. FHSoil.com.
For race fans across the United States, GetInTheStands.com is the place to find racetracks where you live and where you're traveling. Just go to GetInTheStands.com and enter your location. You'll see the tracks within 100 miles of that point, either as a list or on a map. GetInTheStands.com is 100% free to use and mobile friendly. So whether you're on a computer, a tablet, or on your phone, there's no need to download an app. To find racetracks across the United States, open your web browser and head to GetInTheStands.com. GetInTheStands.com, your racetrack directory.
Attention track and series owners, elevate your fan experience with the TrackTune app. TrackTune works with your PA system. Fans and teams at the track can hear the announcers through their phones, ensuring everyone hears race calls, sponsor plugs, and more during race nights. It's simple to set up, affordable, and free for fans to download and enjoy. Visit tracktune.live for all the details and join tracks nationwide on the app today.
Welcome back to the show, and we have now our Seelman stat of the week, and we've been talking NASCAR, and this is in reference to Daytona, and I did not know this until I read this on our run sheet on the show. So Jacob worked hard to pull this one out, but wait till you hear this one.
Twos are wild, folks, and actually twos in two facets. Twice since the regular season ender has gone to Daytona has a driver earned an equivalent of a walk-off win to make the playoffs. Austin Dillon did it in 2022. Wow. Harrison Burton did it last year. I know technically we had Darlington as the regular season finale, but as far as using the summer Daytona race to win your way in, it's only happened twice in 6 years. And only twice in now 12 years of the playoffs to this point has a driver won the regular season finale to make the playoffs. Austin Dillon in 2022 and Chase Briscoe last year at Darlington. Case in point, if you're not in right now, I hate to tell you don't have a lot of hope, but don't have a lot of hope because it just doesn't happen very often.
Well, but I'll tell you what, the fact that it's happened twice, and with some of the drivers, like Kyle Busch, for example, that are not in the playoffs yet, I think this year is as good a chance for that to happen for a third time as there's ever been. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens at Daytona.
That it will. All right, we'll take our last lap here, and I'm gonna throw some quickie bullet points at you on the short track side. We have must-see racing coming up Labor Day weekend at Owasso Speedway, 2 days, Saturday and Sunday. The Sunday finale, a $10,000 to win show. And as you and I have talked about, it's been the summer of the Canadians between Aaron Willison and Ryan Litch. So my question to you is, when you consider we've got guys like Troy DeCare, Jimmy McCune, Jason Blonde coming back in to run for 10 grand, are you taking the Canadians or are you taking the field?
Oh boy. See, you're trying to back me into a corner here. I love my Canadian buddies. Okay. And because of that fact, I am actually going to take the Canadians because I do believe what I see. And right now they're hot.
Fair enough. In the latest chapter of As the Donnie Schatz Sprint Car Axis Turns, what was supposed to be a 7-race deal with Big Game Motorsports turned into one, a flip on lap 1 of the feature, and now Big Game Crew Support working with Donnie at Lunstra Motorsports, which is a notable team out west. So my question to you here is, do you think, and I don't care how it happens, do you think that Donnie Schatz pieces together enough rides to finish the season with the Outlaws, or do you think at some point the Express is going to run off the tracks?
I think that Donnie Schatz will piece together enough rides to finish the Outlaws season. I also think it will be as difficult to track who he is driving for and where from week to week as it is to try to find where the NASCAR Cup race is this week.
Fair enough. Shout outs also to your home track. I'm not surprised that I'm reading this bullet point, but congratulations to Otto Sitterly again, who is now a double-digit track champion at Oswego Speedway.
10 times
in the big block super modifieds. Yeah, I think what I was more impressed in all that is while Otto was busy dominating for number 10 in the big blocks, Alex Hoag decided to jump from 3rd to 1st on the final night of the season by 1 point after the top 2 wrecked I shouldn't say wrecked each other, but after they got together and were subsequently eliminated, here comes Alex Hoag saying, yeah, I'll just take the trophy, thanks.
Yeah, it was really crazy how the two of them got into an accident together. They're being teammates, and then 1 point separating the two going in, and that's how it goes sometimes. And Alex Hoag blows it out by a point. Best run he's had all year.
Yeah, Kyle Perry winning the 350 Oswego Supermodified track title. And I say all this to draw to the point that Labor Day weekend, of course, the 69th Budweiser International Classic weekend, including the big block supers, the small block supers, the 350 supers, and the NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour as part of the weekend. Of course, the Whelen Tour coming off that barn burner race in Richmond, won by Craig Lutz a couple of weeks ago. They always put on a great show at Oswego too. But what I love here, Double O, Joe Gosek, somebody I've looked up to, kind of one of those, when you're a young kid, you hear about these larger than life guys. I feel like Joe was one of those, starting his 46th classic coming up on Classic Weekend, and hoping to make it a memorable one. I know this is going to be his final year before he hangs up the helmets and starts telling stories with the rest of the old timers. If you ask Joe, he's never going to be an old timer, but you know, the rest of us can give us that give him that label.
Well, he's going to be the only driver in the field who's as old as the race itself. 69 years of age.
Yes.
So you can take that for whatever you think it's worth, and he's still got an outside chance to win. God bless him, and I hope it's a great weekend for him and everybody at the Oswego Speedway. Thanks to Jacob Seelman once again for being on with us, and that'll wrap it up for another Tom Baker show. For more great content, steeringwheelnation.com is the place to go. We've got our streaming channel, Nothing But the Tom Baker Show, streaming live on our Steering Wheel Nation streaming channel here on PowerTube TV. Until next time, I'm Tom Baker. Thanks for watching, everybody. Have a great week. So long.